You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Sure glad to see you today. We found a beautiful Girard manufacturing wrench from back in the 1800s. A wrench you don't see very often, and we have one and we're going to restore it today. Let's get down to the shop and get started.
The tool I'm restoring today is a monkey wrench, and of course I love my monkey wrenches, but this one is a Girard. While I've got lots of others, I've only had one other Girard, and all the time I've been collecting. And the reason I love it is look how this turned out. I don't know if this one can turn out as well, but this wrench is just absolutely beautiful. I did a nice job of really sanding it down and getting a nice prep for a gun blue finish. And the wood on here was just outstanding. This wrench is a little bit different in that it's similar in size, but it's thicker, it's wider, and a wider bar, and a little bit longer, just a heavier duty. And it does say on there standard. I don't know what they meant by that. I don't know what this was, if this is the standard. But this was a great one, and I hope to do the same thing with this wrench today. Gonna need a lot of work, and of course because it's got that round handle on it rather than the scales on it, it'll be easier, because to get scales off, it's pretty destructive on this case. If you can get the nut off, which these nuts are sometimes on here real tight, you can completely disassemble the wrench, which allows you to sand the whole bar, all these parts, and get them really, really good and clean, and get the screw, the adjustment screw, and everything off. So we're going to disassemble this and see what we got to do to clean it. But you can see from the condition, it's just really rough. It's been banged on a lot, used as a hammer, thrown down, rattled around, scarred, scraped. So we're going to need a good bit of work, but and the handle is split. That's going to need to be glued back together and to try to eliminate that big crack down here. So it's going to take some work, but I'm really looking forward to it because I enjoy the wrenches, and when I enjoy them, it's just a lot of fun to work on them. Let's get started. I had to shout hooray, and this tool is finally disassembled. This is the closest I have ever come to just chunking this over in the junk bin and saying, I am done with it. I can't proceed. This was unbelievable. This pen, getting this pen out, it's a good hefty pen, but I have never seen a wrench like this where there was a pin holding this lower assembly on. Never ever seen it. And I kept trying to get this off, and then after I got a little bit of cleaning on it, I saw where there was a pin through here. You can see where it was pinned through the shank there. Just unbelievable. I spent most of the day yesterday, heat, oil, banged and banged on it, just unbelievable. I finally got it to move maybe 1/8 of an inch. That was it. Would not move anymore. So I realized at the time it wasn't this outer part that was holding it, it was this inner, which was covered by this part here, so I couldn't get the heat right down where I wanted it. So the little end of the pin that was sticking out, the 1/8 of an inch, I just put a torch on it for unbelievable. In fact, I just about ran out of propane. My tank was almost empty. I didn't know if I was going to get. And then I banged on it with this 4-pound monster. And me with my wrist that is gimpy from time to time, was really getting tired. I was beginning to wonder, but I banged and banged and banged on it for a good 20 to 30 minutes, and voila, finally got it to move out. So I'll be able to get some cleaning on this now. I'm going to have to see what I can do to get this back in. I may need to take it down a little bit. It's such a tight fit. I may have to take a little off of this, a minor amount, just so I can get it to go back in the hole, because I don't know. It won't even get started in it with the small end that came out first. It's unbelievable tight fit. I don't even know if doesn't fit anything. I don't know how I got it out of there. I really don't. But onward now. I can do some heavy wire brushing on this, and then afterwards I've got to do some sanding. But let me get that wire brushing done first. Okay, I've given a good wire brushing to this wrench, and you can see the condition of it now a lot better. Its metal's really rough, so we want to, of course, sand it. We want to make this all smooth. And I've got that other Girard wrench as a standard, which was absolutely beautiful, and I got to try to do the same thing to this one. But every little part has been wire brushed now, and which does some cleaning, but then reveals a lot of things that need to be done. So next is just a few hours of sanding. I'm not going to sit here and sand in front of you and bore you with that, but I will sand it, then show you the results afterwards, and then tell you what step we're taking from there. Well, let's catch up with our progress on this great wrench. We've sanded it. First I went over it with the flap disc and took it down, and then from there, oops, I haven't done this yet. It's good to do an inspection. I completely forgot this end, but the rest of it is done, every surface. Like I said, I did the flap disc, and then I used my orbital sander, which I really like because it gives you more control. It's not as aggressive as that big flap disc. So my goal here is to get, those fine scratches out and get it smoothed down on every piece. And then I'm going to take it over to my surface conditioning belt and get it really smooth and really prepped, because I'm going to do this in a gun blue. And as you know, when I do my gun blue, the secret to mine is to get a great prep, because if you prepped it well and you got your surfaces smooth and shiny, that gun blue will give you a really nice finish. So the next step for the metal will be the surface conditioning belt. And for the wood, I've scraped and sanded this, and I told you it had a big split down the middle. Well, it's splitting on the other side. So the best thing I can do for this is go ahead and get it apart. That way I can get glue on all the surfaces really well and clamp it together, and hopefully not even be able to see that crack in the future if I get it glued right and tight. So had to take it down a little further so I can put it back together the way it needs to be. So I'll get back to work on it. Okay, I've been spending a lot of time on the wrench itself, but now it's time to talk about the handle. And if you remember, this was split and cracking on the other side, so I took it all the way apart. Then I glued it back together using my wood glue, and then I sanded it to get it smooth, and then put a gun stock stain on it. Now, I've been doing something a little different on my handles than I see anyone else do, and I just love the way it's worked so far, and I don't even know how this is going to turn out till I did it. So I thought I'd take you along on the journey and see how it works out. After the stain, the gun stock stain dried, I buffed this with a steel wool, coarse steel wool, an 10 grade, and just took the surface of it off to expose more of the, the surface had a lot of coating on it of the stain. It was really dark. But I want a rustic look on this because this is a 100-plus-year-old wrench. So I wanted a rustic look. And so I buffed it down, and it's got, not a perfect type thing, but it's got a nice rustic look to it. But the finish, in the past, I used to use a lacquer, and I didn't want that shiny finish. So what I've done on the last 2 or 3 tools I've done is wax it with Johnson's wax. Then I took it to my buffing wheel and buffed it. And the buffing wheel, I haven't added any wax to the buffing wheel or buffing compound. I just, whatever residue is on it, which is very light. I just want to give it a light shine, but to really, heat it up with that wheel, get that wax down in the wood, and it seems to give it a nice look. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply some Johnson's wax, and I'll take you along on that trip. We'll see what that looks like, and then after that we'll go with the buffing wheel. So let's do the Johnson's wax first. I usually do all this off camera, so I just decided to do it today, and I give it a good buffing to kind of heat the wax up and get it down in the wood. As you can see, it's already starting to show some grain now, and but an old rustic look. I'm going to let that dry for a second and come right back. So here we are after running it on the buffing wheel, trying to get that nice antique look to it. I think I accomplished my purse. It's got all the old marks on it, but then again, it's got a new finish. And like I said, I put a coat of Johnson's wax on it. Then I went over and buffed it on my buffing wheel without putting any additional wax on it, just using what little residue that was on the buffing wheel. And I like what I got here. I think I got a nice antique look, and that's what I was going for. It is an old wrench, and but to have that antique look, but nicely finished handle on it, I think it's going to turn out nice. I like what I've done. I've done it on several handles, and I seem to be getting a look that I like, so I keep doing it. And it's durable, too. It's heated and waxed and buffed, and the wheel of that heat of that wheel kind of impregnates that wax down in the wood, and I think it's a long-lasting, durable finish without being a really high-shine, glossy finish. It's what I was looking for. I'm going to go ahead and get it assembled on the wrench. I'll be back to show you the finished item. Remember what this wrench looked like when we started. Well used, pitted, banged, and beaten up. The handle was cracked. In, solid shape. Nothing broken except the handle, but it was just really needed some work to get it restored back to the original condition. So here's what we started with. Now we'll go on, take a look at the finished wrench. And here is the Girard wrench all finished. I think I accomplished what I was looking for. Just an overall look. You can see it's got that nice antique look. But the metal's been really fixed because it was in terrible shape. And I sanded it and polished it and put the super blue finish on it, and it turned out just nice looking. Everything shows up great. You can see the maker's mark on here clearly as can be now. I got it nice and clear over on this side too. So I took pains to save all of that, but worked around it to get a lot of marks out of this head of it that were really, really, really rough. You remember I had forgotten to say this earlier. I went back and picked up that part and got it done. The end cap, got it super blued and finished. And you can see the marks here where that pin was. Strange, I've never, and I've done a dozen of these wrenches, I've never had one where this lower piece was pinned on here. And it was flush. You couldn't even see it. But after removing that pin and doing the finishing and putting it back in, it did leave a little mark there. But it's okay. It's fine. It was part of the wrench, and he even had the name marked on it here. So we got it, again, the back side, the front side, I'll call it, and all around finished nicely. And here's how that handle looks assembled on here. I've got that nice rustic look to it that I was going for. And but, you know, lightly shined to where it shows up, and it's a very durable finish too. When you wax it and then run it on that buffing wheel and heat it, it impregnates all the wax down in there. So you've got a good solid finish that'll last a long time and not as glossy and shiny as the lacquers and shellacs. So something I've been doing. I like what I'm doing. I think it gives that wrench a nice antique look, and that's what I was going for. I've got a lot of monkey wrenches. I had no idea how many till I got to looking through the collection, because I've got some scattered in drawers and hanging on the wall and around. So for my next one, I'm going to bring out my monkey wrenches and review that collection and tell you a little bit about it, because it's something I really enjoy, and it's a good part of my collections. This one's done. It turned out exactly like I planned on it when I started, and that's a win. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.